Ads are a crucial part of Instagram for your growth, for your marketing to your customers and potential customers. But just because you have the money to spend on ads doesn't mean it's going to equal sales. I don't want you guys to waste your money on ads. I've had clients kind of go rogue apart from my marketing plan that I have for them and spend hundreds of dollars on ads because they were desperate to get sales and desperate to get a sale going that week or that weekend before everything else was in place and ready. And it was a waste of money. It's not as simple as just throwing that money out there. I know when you're a small business, you can tend to think, oh, if I can just afford good ads, big ads, that I can compete with the big dogs out there, I can get a lot of sales. If I could just get that ad money. And then if you've gotten there, you know it's not that easy. Let's fix that. I don't want you guys to waste your hard-earned money on ads that don't work. Before we get into it, give me a quick like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and let's get into it. We're going to talk about 5 main reasons why your Instagram ads aren't working. And the first one is if there isn't a congruence between your ad and your Instagram account. Just yesterday, I saw a beautiful ad. I wanted to use it as an example in a video in the future because it was just done so beautifully. It was a gorgeous skincare ad that had, a moving frame and showed skin up close and showed a demo of the product, but it was also aspirational because it was just so beautifully done. And then I clicked on their profile to go and see their account, and it was like men's beard care. Like there's no cohesiveness between those two things. Suddenly this woman's beautiful skin and women's body care and then men's grooming. And not everything's going to be perfectly congruent if you sell different products. I have worked with multiple brands who they have women's care and they have men's care. And that's fine. That's totally fine. Just make sure if you are planning on running an ad, pay attention and be careful about what you've recently posted. If your last several posts are about men's care, that's not the time to run a women's care ad. You really want to make sure, because people aren't going to always just click on the ad link and go straight to your website. They're oftentimes going to click on your profile and kind of poke around on Instagram before they decide whether they want to take time to even go to your website or take a second glance at your brand at all. So you want them to really see things that reinforce the ad. You want that consistency. Consistency builds recognition. A lack of consistency, it just leads to confusion. You don't want that brand confusion. So really make sure that your most recent content is reinforcing whatever ad you're running. Now, the second reason why your ad might be ineffective is it's just not a great ad. That's kind of the most obvious reason on here, but I had to include it. I couldn't not include it. Your ad might just be ugly or ineffective or lack a good hook or lack a direction. That's the next point. We'll get to that, but it might be overly edited and too cluttered or way too much use of AI. That is a huge mistake I see a lot. The one that I just cannot stand, I hate it so much, I really do hate it, is when I see small brands take one of those AI sort of apps that will create an AI person where it's a screen recording or picture of the product behind them, and then it'll be an AI figure talking. And everybody knows it's AI. It does not look professional. Everybody knows that it's AI. And I'll even see them saying things in there as if it's an influencer. It'll be like, I used this on my skin and da-da-da. No, you didn't, you're AI, just resist the urge to use those shortcuts. I know that those ads are kind of popping up all over the place, and now that you've heard this and your phone has heard me talk about it, I'm sure you'll get more ads about it, that's another point. We'll get to that too. But just that repetition of ads. But anyway, you don't want to use too much AI. You really don't. You want to take the time. If you're going to put your money into an ad, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to wait until you have the money or the know-how, either the know-how to do it yourself or the money to pay somebody else to do it. And that can be a great way to use UGC content if you've had an influencer collab. Some other content's, I know from experience doing it myself, that it can be quite professional. So that's a good source of affordable ad content. You can absolutely stipulate to influencers if you're planning on working with them coming up, and you kind of have in your mind, okay, what kind of ad? You should have in your mind, what kind of ad am I going to want to be running in 2 months, 3 months, whatever, a month after I work with this influencer? What kind of paid ad am I going to want to run? And you can run that by that influencer and say, hey, this is the kind of content that I need. And most of them are happy to accommodate those requests, because we want you to get the most bang for your buck. We want, or at least I do when I work with small brands, I want them to get the most bang for their buck out of the content that they get from me. I want them to find it helpful and useful for them going forward, not just in the moment. I want it to be something that they can utilize that content over and over for their own ads. So just put in the money, make it professional. And I would suggest doing it that way as an influencer collab first, because then you get some recognition going, you get a little bit of brand buzz going, and then you come in with an ad. And that's going to be a lot more helpful than just buying an ad from a photographer and running it yourself without having done collabs first. Now, a third reason why your Instagram ads are probably ineffective is if it lacks a clear purpose. Sometimes when I work with brands, I'm kind of like, what's your purpose of this campaign? What's your goal? And they're kind of like, sales, It's kind of like, well, there's brand recognition, there's building trust, there's sales, they all go hand in hand, but it really helps to narrow one campaign down or one ad down to a specific focus. Are you trying to build trust? Are you trying to generate sales? Because the kind of content that you're going to have for one purpose is not the most effective for another purpose. Before and afters, testimonials, especially like what you would get with UGC collabs, testimonials like that, those help with building brand trust. Is that going to help you seal the deal with a sale? Not necessarily if somebody's not at the when time of their purchase. It usually takes a nice sale to bump them up and get them to do that purchase, and that's a whole different post, that's a whole different ad. Doing a limited time sales, for example, a really beautiful still shot with text overlay saying 30% off site-wide this weekend only, that's a good sales ad. And that's not the same kind of ad you're going to use for getting awareness and getting attention. That's what you want those more dynamic, more beautiful, aspirational ads for, to kind of get people's attention and get them looking at, oh, what brand is that? What product is that? It's totally different ads for those different purposes. So you really want to make sure that you're going in one very clear direction. That is going to determine the type of ad that you put out. A good hook can help with awareness. It doesn't have to be a fancy video reel. It can be still shots for an awareness campaign. A couple of good hooks I've heard lately, there was one, it was a makeup brand, and it had the hook easy to apply, impossible to ignore. That's such a good one-liner. And there was another one that was skincare, and it said your self-care routine, but make it non-toxic. So that's promoting more natural, obviously non-toxic, healthy skincare lifestyle. And that can help build trust too if you are promoting yourself as a non-toxic brand. So that kind of kills two birds with one stone. I know that's kind of going against what I'm saying of having a narrow focus, but you can kind of sometimes with the awareness kind of squeeze in a little bit more like that, because something like that kind of a hook does do that, because it builds up your reputation as a non-toxic skincare brand with that good hook, and that can bring awareness as well. So it just depends, but definitely a sales ad is going to be much different than an awareness ad or a trust building ad. So you really want to make up your mind from the get-go before you start making that content for the ad. Really make sure you have that clear focus. My fourth reason for why your Instagram ads might not be effective is that it's the only ad you're running. It's the only promo. It's the only thing you're doing. Ads need support. There is a reason why brands put so much money and effort into software that will have their ad pop up after you've already seen their website, you've already seen their content, and then an ad will pop up. It's that repetition, that recognition. It's a touch point. It cannot be their first touch point with your brand and get a sale. That's not how it works. The old old school standby was that a consumer needs about 7 touch points with your brand before you can seal the deal, before you can make a sale. Now people are saying it's more upwards of 12. Some people are even touting like 22. I don't think it's quite that high, but it is a good rule of thumb that, it takes around 10, give or take. It really does. So you need your own content, you need promoted posts, you need those collabs. All of those things work together. Those things in and of themselves can be frustrating and not yield results. It's because all of those things together. I often equate marketing with weight loss because it's just the perfect metaphor. It's all those little things put together in your diet and your exercise and everything, that you don't want to do. And if you do just one of them, and if you do just one of them half-assed, well, you're not going to see results. You really have to consistently do all of those things together to see some good results. So really plan it out. Make sure that you've been active on social media for a while first, and make sure that you've got your grid going, and make sure that, people have heard of your brand. Start out with your own content and start out with some UGC deals, some UGC collabs, so that you're getting the word out there, not just from your own mouth, but from brand hubs or market hubs. That an influencer is basically a market hub that can help build buzz around your product. Those are kind of old standard terms, marketing terms, and they're really important. They're really important to pay attention to those. So you want to build up those different means of buzz and touch points with your customers, and then go in with an ad campaign. The exception being, of course, if your purpose of that ad campaign is awareness, then obviously that's, you can do that simultaneously with the brand, with the collabs, with your own content, and then ads for brand awareness. You can do that at the same time, obviously, because it's all for the sake of brand awareness, and then come in with an ad for sales. Often brands will want to do a sales promo code as soon as a collab kicks off, and they're just very obsessed with making sure that it gets in the post. And I just want to tell them, hey, take a step back, calm down. You're not leaving money on the table by me introducing the brand first. We're doing it in a proper order here, getting that awareness going, then coming in with the discount. It's all a process, and it's all these moving parts that support each other and flow with each other. So get used to that flow. It really takes all of the support of those different elements, and it takes good timing of those different elements. Now, number 5, this is the most important. It has nothing to do with social media, but it is my 5th final reason why your ads might be ineffective on Instagram, and that is your sales page isn't optimized enough. Your sales page on your website, your product pages where the consumer goes to actually purchase the product, if that page isn't optimized, you're going to lose the sale. That is your last point of contact with them before they hit purchase, if they're going to purchase. That's your last opportunity to help them with the information gathering stage of the process. It's your last chance to inspire them, to connect with them. So you need clear and concise information, and you also need the in-depth information. I talked about this in the last vlog a little bit more in depth if you want to go back to that one. But so you're going to have full in detail information about the product, but then you're also going to have like a summation of key points that they can quickly and easily look at. And then you're going to have a product photo that also has, text overlay on it to explain some of the main key things about your product as well. And you've got to have clear, good, professional product images. Having professional product images on your website, especially on your sales pages, it is so important. It is really something that you have to make sure that you dedicate some money to. It's very important, really important. And then lastly, you need a very quick and easy checkout system. Most websites, it's easy to do that with nowadays, but it does bear saying that that you do need to have a smooth checkout system. I do see brands when they're starting out that just, say, hey, DM me to purchase, and that can work when you're just starting out, but I don't know. I would say just spend that time building up your content and connecting with the consumer, and wait until you can really fully launch a full website with a good checkout system so that you don't turn them off to your purchasing process. But you've got this. Get those sales pages optimized. Put in some time and effort to get a professional ads. Make sure that you have a clear, very clear focus and goal for your campaigns, and make sure you've got it supported with other content and collabs, and you've got it. You have got this. If you have any questions about any of this, leave it in the comments below and I will answer it. Give me a quick like and subscribe before you go. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.